Hello, everyone. This is Andrew, and this is Atomo January. Pull my glasses down because I'm getting blind. 2023, and there's a lot of things happening and going on now. So it appears, let's take a look at things that are happening. We got World Economic Forum going on. We got seemingly some things going on with Joe Biden and these documents. It hunch here, and probably you folk that are watching this have keyed into this already. Something's up, especially when mainstream media is starting to call out some of the things that are going on, especially with the documents, even though they're playing a lot of softball with it, compared to what happened to Trump. Of course, when you're the chosen one, being Biden, then you're not going to have as many, I guess, instances where they're going to go after you. You've done your duty, you've done your bidding, you've been there for so long, so many years. Um, yeah. So I think you'll look for a graceful exit unless the Republicans really want to push hard on trying to get some additional answers. I'm not highly confident that they're going to push to get uh, any more than what we see happening right now. So let's jump into some things going on. What I've been doing here is looking for some of the information in kind of the normie Google News. So I'm taking a look at the oil invoicing that's happening. Saudi Arabia is agreeing to settle oil invoices in renminbi. So I couldn't find it on the normie news. So if I stop that and let's jump over to this one here. Zero Hedge has this one up. So, they bring up Zoltan Pozar, and do go and take a look at the Zoltan Pozar articles that have come out. He's turning into the Nostradamus here. So I'll give you that as a search term if you take a look, Zoltan Pozar. He's basically setting up a framework. There's a couple things here, is possibly additional reserve currencies in the world. And even Jay Powell said, yeah, there's room for more than one reserve currency in the world. And that's possibly because Jay Powell wants to, there's another assumptive or analytical element that we may have to wait and see how it plays out. So a little bit of setup. Um, so you're seeing here that the OPEC plus deal, Iran, renminbi invoicing like this, GCC oil flowing east is renminbi invoicing. It's dawn of the Petroyuan. So there we go, a new reserve currency, as we have noted on this channel, and as a lot of these analysts have brought forward. Looks like it is in play, and this can be a piece of why things are changing so much. We're seeing a lot of shuffleboard happening in kind of the that new world order, whatever it might be. Perhaps it's, maybe we can say hurrah, hurrah, it's taken a bloody nose and things are changing. We don't know whether for better or for worse, but it is, in my opinion, it's good that there is some type of competition out there to the collective West hegemony in what we see as the global South. So the two big factions on the game board I showed in a previous video about the world island, which Japan and Russia, or, sorry, not Japan, China and Russia look like are making gains. USA and the Americas sit over on one side of the world, but if Russia and China gain pretty much dominance on the other part of the world, they from a game board perspective, they have control of the game board. Okay, so because of this game board shift, and with the European Union cratering, and we're seeing some changes come up in leadership circles. So let's take a look at Xi Jinping. Okay, so yeah, again, as I was saying, take a look at the normie news. You're not seeing a lot of it. They're probably, whoa, what do you mean? You're invoicing in renminbi? What's that all about? So whoever these news people are in the normie news network and CNN probably have to take their schlongs out of their hired help. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, you mean, okay, you mean this. Okay, so you mean all your mainstream media people are dipping in some different type of ink while they're over at the WEF. Rocket's red glare. Here we go. Boom, 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 boom. Rocket. I'm punning on Rocket. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So here's the people who want to rule, and this is why I don't worry too much about these Davos things. The type when you see what our leaders, I'll put it in rabbit ears, what are air quotes, what our leaders are doing, and the basic moral bankruptcy that they have. Morally bankrupt people can't keep complex systems up and running. They just cannot do it. They don't have the discipline to do it. So as much as they can talk, as much as they can go around and they could do their thing with each other, it takes a certain level of discipline, attitude to keep these complex systems running. And the things that the Davos and the WEF are asking for are very complex. Yeah, my position is I'm not against it all. There are things that make sense, but if it's just doing spewing climate change doom porn for the fact that you just want to usurp old fossil fuel magnets and magnates and then move that money over to different areas in a way of shifting power. Well, I don't have much patience for that. Um, I think healthy competition is the way to go. And talking about healthy competition as a way to go, here I go, Elon. Uh, Look at that. One of the reasons why mainstream media was against the Twitter deal, let that sink in. Twitter is now the #1 news app on the App Store. So it talks about citizen journalism. So what I'm attempting to do here, throwing my voice into the arena, and the reason for doing that is, even if nobody watches it, it's just voices upon voices upon voices saying this stuff and keeping vigilant on the things that are happening in the world. If nobody cares, then you know these sort of people get their way, and then next thing you know it, all your nice things are gone. Okay, just be aware of that. Oh, here's one of these old bags of lizard people. Oh yeah, there's a John Kerry one. I'll have to go and do a search for that. um, so it looks like Soros and company. I think they said Klaus was in there for a bit, then he zipped away to something else. Soros was in there for a bit, and he zipped away to something else. So John Kerry, wonder if he old horse face. So let me take a pause for a moment while I go find that. All right, so let's take a look at this one. Yeah, don't apologize if seeing this guy gives you eye aids. Well, let's see what Horseface has to say here.
And when you stop and think about it, it's pretty extraordinary that we, select group of human beings, because of whatever touched us at some point in our lives, are able to sit in a room and
touched us like, you know, aliens came down like, Bomb, you're the chosen one. Yeah, look at this, you know, two, like, 4 legs better than two type thing will never, you know, animals are not supposed to stand on 2 feet or 2 legs. I'm trying to remember the Animal Farm quotes.
come together and actually talk about saving the planet. I mean, it's so almost extraterrestrial to think about, quote, saving the planet. If you said that to most people, they think you're just a crazy tree-hugging, lefty, liberal, you know, do-gooder, whatever, and there's no relationship. But really, that's where we are.
All right, so enough of that. Yeah, you're the chosen one, of course. If you go blasting through Twitter, then you get other stuff about, you know, rebel news out there, yeah, shaking things up again in Davos. I'm gonna have to take a look at that later. But yeah, so you had Soros saying that Soros, guess, dropping out. George Soros suddenly pulls out of Davos, raises questions. Of course, it raises questions. He was one of the he was one of the architects of the Maidan revolution in Ukraine. So the war is one of the things of his doing. So if you want to send thanks for all the problems that happened after COVID was declared no more, and then let's start the war. Yeah, thanks Soros for the setup for that. In other news, we have New Zealand's Prime Minister. I apologize if I'm giving you all the horse face stuff today. It's just when they come out, they come out. It's the woodwork gets shaken, and then our horse face friends come out trying to take us over. You know, here's the mistress of lockdowns in the UK. Just going through the article, just saying, "Oh, privilege role comes with responsibility." You know, these sort of platitudes, and you need the right person. I just no longer have enough in the tank to do it justice. Yeah, you basically played your card, you read your scripts, and the people are not happy, especially after, you know, yeah, how many people in New Zealand are suddenly dying? You know, take a look at that. You know, go and do a search. You know, just go over here. Yeah, go to this one. SUDDEN. Sudden death syndrome. What's happening here? Yeah, the sudden death syndrome. Oh, really? Sudden death syndrome thing too with soybeans. Sudden Russian death syndromes. There's a lot of sudden explained death in childhood debated in Parliament. Thankfully, parliamentarian people can bring this stuff up, but you know, if you want to do, yeah, suddenly dying and all that stuff, you know, go ahead, search on that. Just to close us off, there was some whispers going around thinking Bank of America might be failing. I don't know. No financial advice, no medical advice, no legal advice here. Just which I thought, well, interesting. Better take a look at it and see what's going on. They're saying perhaps some of their payment platforms stopped working for whatever reason. Looks like Down Detector was reporting some things going on. And what to make of it? Don't know at this point. It's one of those things you just take a look at the data points. I'm not going to do any sort of schizo analysis on this one. I'm just going to take it for what it's worth at this point, saying a transaction problem. Stuff happens. Yeah. So what should we make of all this? We just kind of do the rewind here. Things are changing. So take these cans off for a moment. Things are changing. Uh, it's very fluid right now, so it's hard to get solid signals. Uh, as much as I can in the evening, I take a look and see what signals are coming up and see what trend lines are emerging. It looks like there's a lot of deals are being made right now with Davos up and running, with the new Republican government in play, with Russia increasing the amount that they're putting into their military spending. Uh, the talk about all these governments wanting to send tanks and other military equipment over to Ukraine. There was one where Germany was going to send some Leopard tanks over, but said, "Oh, well, we won't do that unless the USA goes first." So you can see that kind of hesitation. What would have that strong talk that we saw uh, about this time last year in 2022, or more in February, in March, after the special military operation started up, and some of the table banging strong talk that was happening that didn't quite pan out. Now, leaders are trying to say things and then weigh the opinion that comes out of it. It's easy enough to see when somebody posts something about let's send tanks over, and a lot of us folk are saying, how about we don't, and we get back to fixing our problems? But now we have to look at see which neocon groups in our governments, if there is a change from, oh, look at this, these leftist policies are not getting the uptake, our COVID narrative is falling apart, the next to the wokeism stuff is taking a hit, so it should take more hits. Just a note about wokeism. Maybe I'll do another one on that, and I'll pull up some of the videos from the Oxford debates. It's good to look at because that sort of leftist Marxist type thinking is all about power. It's all about doing everything and pushing as hard against the system as possible to change the system. It's just that ideology means you don't ever let up. So there's going to be a point where the woke will eat the woke. It happens. You go back in history and looked at when the Bolsheviks taken over in Russia and changed it into the Soviet style communist government. After Lenin and his revolutionaries started to smoke their cigars and said, "Yay, we did it," and along came Stalin, he had all of the oligarchs shot. Okay, that's what happens. You think your great revolutionary is going to change the system? Look out for the one that comes behind you that takes your ideology and dials it to 11 and then takes out all, oh, okay, I don't want these revolutionaries running around anymore. I'm going to consolidate power. And then all the people that architect the, hey, we broke the system, we won. History may not necessarily repeat, but it will rhyme. Do understand what's going on.